Hello and welcome everyone. Today I'd like to briefly explain why MSI's upcoming gaming handheld, which will be called MSI Claw A1M, might unfortunately be what is commonly known as dead on arrival in my opinion, so let's talk about that.
This is Hubwood.
You might have heard that MSI is entering the competition of gaming handhelds, following the tradition of the ASUS ROG Ally, the Steam Deck and the Lenovo Legion Go, among others. The other day, MSI released the final specs and prices for this upcoming device, which aren't very promising when considering the handhelds already available. So, what are my actual concerns? The MSI Claw will unfortunately come with only 16GB of RAM. Again, as the earlier mentioned three most successful handhelds clearly suffer from that small RAM size, MSI misses a significant opportunity to take the lead here. I have tested a lot of games on these 16GB handhelds, and since they need to share this RAM with the VRAM of the integrated graphics, there are actually many games in which that becomes a real bottleneck. A larger VRAM would have granted the opportunity to use low settings with ultra textures, for example, which makes games look much better while still being perfectly playable even on these weaker iGPUs, or at least setting the VRAM to 8GB by default and still providing enough RAM for Windows and the games themselves. The MSI Claw does not offer any new benefits for the used screen. It's going to be a 1080p 120Hz screen, just like in the Ally. And from what we know as of now, it will offer VRR, as in variable refresh rate, so there will most likely be no improvement over the ROG Ally's 7-inch 120Hz VRR screen. The Legion Go, with its huge 8-inch screen, 144Hz QHD, does not have VRR, but the screen size and the resolution itself have been an argument for many people. The only real obvious benefit seems to be the 1TB drive for the high-end model, while the medium and lower-end models once more only offer 512GB SSDs. And well, the battery has 53 Wh, which is 8% more compared to the Legion Go's 49 Wh battery and 32% more than the ROG Ally's 40 Wh battery. So for AAA gaming, we're talking about maybe 10 to 30 minutes longer in battery life, which won't be a convincing argument for most people, I assume, at least not to switch the devices. And we also don't yet know if games will actually be playable at the 15 watt profiles people tend to use on battery. Connection-wise, there are no surprises as well. Only one USB-C port compared to the two ports of the Legion Go and a microSD card slot, whereas it also supports Thunderbolt, which at least could be a small plus for some people, admittedly. And the rest of the MSI Claw just seems to be a clone of the ASUS ROG Ally in a lot of ways. It's about the same size, the same weight, it has almost the same button layout, etc. And I just think that, considering the high price, this won't cause a hype since the competition has been around for a month or even longer. You can basically already get everything the MSI Claw offers. And all the other handhelds already had the time to be optimized with driver and BIOS updates. Yes, there are some minor benefits, like for example the low power cores of the new Intel Core Ultra CPUs, which might allow better runtimes on idle or for web browsing and such. And who knows, maybe the cooling system turns out to be better and quieter than the ones ASUS, Lenovo or Valve are using. Overall, I might, of course, be proven wrong, and I actually hope that I am, as competition is always good for the customer, but I just can't see it yet, and therefore have to stay skeptical. It will probably even be a good product by itself, but the market might just already be well served in that price-performance category. I have to point out that using 32GB of RAM and keeping the SSD size at 512GB would have been the better decision in my opinion, as upgrading the SSD is relatively easy and cheap at the same time, while the RAM won't be upgradable again. Also, the release date is unclear yet. Rumors vary from February to the second quarter of 2024, and time really isn't working in MSI's favor here. I will of course cover the MSI Claw's performance and compare it to said competitors, but I'm not expecting too much, especially in the beginning right after its release, considering we'll have to rely on Intel drivers, which have always been an issue in the past so far, and early adopters might once more be the human guinea pigs in that case. Until then, if you haven't checked out my comparison between the ROG Ally and the Legion Go, make sure to do that next. I further used the Legion Go as a desktop PC replacement for 1 week, even using it for Blender and Adobe Premiere Pro, and talk about it in a separate video. And while we're at it, I'll soon compare the gaming performance of the Core Ultra 7 155H with the Core Ultra 5 125H, so make sure to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss that. And the results might give us a good idea of how different the MSI Claw models will perform. Please also consider becoming a channel member for only 99 cents per month to help me push out more videos in the future. And that's all for today. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to give the video a thumbs up. That helps a lot. Thank you. And also, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye and tschüss.